Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Comic Chronicle podcast. I'm your guys' host, Dakota Morgan, coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona. Today we have a guy coming through the power of Skype, all the way from South Africa. Karl Mosert is on the show. Karl and I talk so much fun shit, including Deceased Unkillables, that huge DC series going on right now, the continuation of it, Unkillables. Karl is the artist on there, the man effed up time, so many other things. And you know what? We talk so much stuff of being an artist, working in comics, being an artist in times like these, and the funk, that we're getting in because of, we looked outside the window, we turn on the news, everyone's down. We're all in this weird sort of funk here, especially as of this recording. So, which is April 14th, 2020. Just putting in a date now. A date in the podcast, yes. But also kind of giving a timeline on where we are and things like that, because this is a pre-recording of when this is going to be coming out. This is coming out like 2 weeks from now. So hopefully things are still okay and the world's still around, because you guys are really going to enjoy this episode of Karl. He gives so much good advice. I loved it. And it's a really good comedy show. So if you guys like this episode, stay tuned for more fun episodes every Monday. You can subscribe to get those episodes for free, mind you, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or even comicchronicle.podbean.com. And it's free. So how can you not? And of course, if you guys want to keep in touch with the show, you can follow me at DakotaMorgan3 on Twitter, or at Dakota_Morgan97 on Instagram to keep track of the podcast, the other podcast, Film World, the film stuff I do, and the comic stuff I do as well, too. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in this episode, and hopefully you guys like it. And you're staying safe out there, washing your hands. And I did put it out there in the social media for the David Harewood episode. But I'm saying it every episode. This episode and the future ones until this whole thing's over is made for the people at home. Yes, in quarantine. You guys all rock, staying at home. But it's also made for the people who are on the front lines. You see a nurse, you see a doctor, you see a grocery store clerk, especially the people working in medical right now. This is made for you guys. This is all done for an escape. We talk a bit about what's going on and all the craziness, but we add a little sci-fi, little flair to it. So this is made for you guys. So a good escape, I should say. I just want to say thank you. Everyone rocks. Make sure you guys don't overbuy at stores. Yada, yada, yada. I sound like a parent right now, but you know what? I guess y'all need to fucking smack it around. Jesus. Don't overbuy on toilet paper, people. Come on. Thanks, everyone, for tuning into this episode. And without further ado, before I go on a rambling about the current state of affairs, here is my guest and my talk with Karl. Karl, we are recording, good man. I want to get on our record, too. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Of course.
Good to be here.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you on, man, because you have been all over the place right now in comics.
Oh, I'm still feel like I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of am.
Yeah, and I want to be honest with you, too, is I didn't mention it in the beginning part, is you are actually, I've talked to people from Australia, friends of mine in Vancouver, Canada, Britain, New Zealand at one point. I want to be honest. You're the first person from South Africa.
Oh, that you've, wow, an honor.
Yeah, you are the representative, sir.
I think there are 3 people in South Africa that actually draw comics for either DC or Marvel or Aftershock or anybody there in the States. I think there are only 3 people that draw in the whole of South Africa. So
Yeah,
I can believe it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it really perplexes me sometimes. Like when I found out you're from South Africa, I'm like, you know what? That makes sense, because there's so many artists nowadays that don't live, that work for Marvel and DC and indie ones too, that don't work. They work, but they don't live in United States. Like most of them live in Argentina, France. That was another one to talk to. Like you just don't know. Like most of the time, if I see an artist on a really popular Marvel book or really popular DC book, 9 times out of 10 they live outside the United States, which is really cool to me.
Yeah, it's quite. I suppose it's it's quite nice in a way that they branch out like that, or that they look for talent all over the world. I suppose it's the same with Hollywood kind of things. A lot of the actors and stuff, you always find out that they're Australian or English, or
Yeah. If they turn out to be really sexy, you know they're not American. That's what I've learned.
Wow.
I mean, come on, Karl. Come on. We had Megan Fox at one point, and that got soiled. So that's all we had. That is all she wrote.
Okay. Scarlett Johansson, come on.
Yeah, that's true. That's very okay. Scarlett Johansson. Well, I heard somewhere she's not American. Is she American? That sounds bad when I put it that way. Is she from the U.S.? Is she born in the U.S.?
That's something we're going to have to check.
I know. There's a.
She's definitely American.
Is she okay? I like how you're making sure no country wants to claim Scarlett Johansson. I really appreciate it. You're like, hold on, no, she's yours. It's like all the YouTubers. They're like, oh no, YouTubers are Americans. Yeah, that's fine. We don't want those guys.
Yeah. I think we've got one there. What is? Oh my word! And I do this a lot, especially when I don't have a lot of sleep. What was she in the Mad Max? Furiosa.
Oh my God! Yeah, she's a goddess, and I can't remember her name.
Charlize Theron.
Yes, Charlize, yes. Oh.
Or you have to say it in South Africa, Charlize Theron.
Oh. See, that sounds that's a way better way to say it. I'm learning new things. It's only like 4 minutes in. Oh man. Yeah.
I don't know if South Africans like to say it like that.
Fair enough. Well, I you know what? I do have to give a shout out though before we go any further, good man, because as I said in my email to you, I am a comic book writer. I work for a company, SGGS, and not even my artist, my partner on 5 different comic book series, which I feel I'm being all over the place. He's not even in the United States. He's in the Philippines. Like, shout out to Paul. Yeah, who would have known? And the shit, the company I work for,
awesome.
Yeah, the company I work for doesn't even operate in Arizona. It operates because Arizona is not really friendly with the arts. Film a little bit. It's getting there, but I'm working in film. I noticed that a little bit, but my SGGS is in New Jersey, so it seems like comics these days aren't just based in LA and New York. They're global, it seems.
Yeah. No, true. Yeah. It's as much as people say that it's dying and so on, but I don't think so. It's spreading its wings, man.
Exactly.
It's going far and wide, and so yeah. I don't think any of the comics or any of the big guys or anything is going anywhere.
No. It's what I like to call a rough patch. The whole world's on a rough patch right now. That's all.
Definitely.
Which, speaking of which, I gotta ask: are you under? We talked about it on Drought before we started recording, and you said you just got out of that.
Yeah.
But are you guys under lockdown of any kind for the whole end of the world coronavirus?
We have just been put under. About 2 weeks ago, we were put under a 3-week lockdown.
Oh, Jesus!
And about a week ago, we were given another 2 weeks on top of those 3 weeks. So about what is that? 37 days.
About yes,
so,
yeah.
About halfway through. Everybody's going insane.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
That's extent, sorry.
No, it's about right. I mean, you're honestly nailing it on the head. I mean, it's the same scenario in the States. I mean, shit, they're not even going, I think, what is it? LA just said they're not opening stuff up until the middle of May. I think it was. Yeah.
It's about right.
Yeah, it's. I was wondering because you don't often hear it. No one's ever talking about what's going on in like South Africa or the whole continent in general. And so, like, we know what's going on in France. Huh?
Yeah, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
We haven't been hit as hard as a lot of places. I think we are just in over 2,000 people that have had the virus. And I think we are on 27 that have actually died.
Jesus.
So we're not in the heavy hitters yet as far as the coronavirus. And that's a bad thing to say, but as far as that goes. So we're quite low still.
Yeah, well, it's you're doing pretty well. It's like 27, but it's the weird new world we live in, Karl. It's like, oh, how many people died today? Well, a low number. Oh, that's good. It's like and it's like, well, did you stay inside today? You're damn right. Did you wear a mask while you went shopping? Yeah. It's like it's a weird world we live in now. It really the first week in America, you thought you thought it was the end of the world. You thought this is the beginning of a zombie movie, and now it's just everyone's going nuts at home. Oh, it's really happening now.
It's exactly it, eh?
Yeah.
Sure. And I mean, we were working on, I don't know, can I say what? Yeah, obviously I can say what we've been working.
Oh, be careful there, Karl. Be careful. I don't want you to get in trouble. Hold on here.
No, just the whole, virus thing in the comic that, in the deceased stuff that I was working on, and it's just so weird how it ties together.
Yeah.
I don't know about everybody else, but I've been waiting on this Last of Us game as well, and everything's got to do with a virus that takes over the world, and all of a sudden Corona pops up, and I was like, oh my word, I can finally live my comic and my games.
It's true, but it's less entertaining. You're like, oh my god, it's not as fun.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's not as fun at all.
Exactly. Like, I was wondering about that because currently, I can't say any details, but I can say I'm working on a tie-in stuff and working on this zombie thing for film and somewhat comics, and that's as much as I can say without getting in trouble because of contracts. But I'm agreeing with you. I agree 100% with you. Working on these, like, doing zombie stuff is weird, but working on deceased is definitely got to be weird. That's like, I was gonna ask you about that because I thought about it, like, well, he must be working on deceased, and it's got to be weird to be working on a virus when a virus is literally taking over the world. Oh God.
Yeah. It's we think Tom Taylor's got some soothsaying abilities over there as far as the virus is concerned.
Hey folks, Dakota here with a little bit of an ad break, but this is one you definitely want to listen to if you guys are a comic fan, which you are if you're listening to the show. You guys like comics and you like reading them in person. Well, let me tell you, go to Drawn the Comics in Glendale, Arizona. This is not just a hype thing for this ad, let me tell you. I've been going there for years. I've had Cam Brown on the show all the time. Such a good guy. It's such a good community. Everyone who works there, they know you. You get your box number. You get your thing. You get all you need to do there. You get your collectible toys, car, whatever it may be. Comics, it's all there for you guys. That's Drawn the Comics in Glendale, Arizona. Here's the address, 5801 West Glendale Avenue, Glendale, Arizona, in downtown Glendale. And if you guys want to visit them, you can visit them, drawntocomics.com, or find them on social media, and the number is 623-847-9090. You give them a call. Definitely, guys, I love going to the store. And this is not a fucking lie. I love going. It's so amazing. Thanks, everyone. And hopefully you guys check them out if you're in Arizona or maybe passing through. Remember, guys, Drawn the Comics. Go check it out for your books. Reading books in person is so much better than digital. But I love digital, too, so it's a little bit of a toss-up. Support brick and mortar companies. We definitely need you to. Thanks, everyone. And now, without further ado, I'm going to take it back to future me. Oh man, he's a godsend on Twitter, Karl. I'm gonna be honest with you. Let's not do that. I love the man on Twitter. He's really good. He adds a lot of hope.
Yeah, no, he does. He's a pretty cool guy.
So speaking of Last of Us, I'm guessing you know the news.
Woo! Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had to swallow that news as well. I was not happy.
Yeah, same as myself. I was like, the world keeps taking from me. It's like, what?
Yeah, I was not impressed when I read that.
No.
I was. I thought, at least do things digitally. I'll just buy it again when it comes out physically. I don't care. This is what I've been shown. I mean, they've been showing us things on this game for how long? For 2 years now, and we're finally getting the chance to play it. And Corona.
I'll tell you. No, you can say it. Like, Karl, I'm gonna be honest. It was really weird because Resident Evil 3 came out. Still kind of talking about this, and it was incredibly. I didn't play it yet, but it was incredibly weird watching the beginning intro, which is all live action. I think there's maybe one or two CG things, but it's almost all live action about the pandemic sweeping Raccoon City and the virus and the riots and the looting and all. And I'm like, wow, this is really trippy to be playing right now. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's quite okay. Yeah, no, it is. It's quite surreal almost. And these things. Well, I mean, it's happening here in South Africa. I know they've been robbing because we've got a ban on alcohol and cigarettes here.
Oh, really?
South Africa. Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's the downfall. That's how you die. that's how you all. That's how the riots and the looting begins.
So people have been looting and robbing and going crazy for alcohol and it's nuts.
I haven't heard anything about that. Oh, Karl, I hope you're not a drinker or a smoker, good man, because.
No, neither.
Okay. Yeah, non-full time.
Gave that up a long time ago. So yeah.
Fair enough. You're
Thankfully,
lucky.
I just stay indoors.
Oh. There's so many people I know that would definitely they'd be like, "Oh, there's a ban on liquor and smoking. Oh, guess what? We're just gonna riot. Where this is you've soiled the seeds. There's not gonna be anything like the 1920s in America where it's secretly sold in bars. No, we're just gonna riot. That's all we're gonna do.
Yeah, pretty much. You guys still have takeaways there, right? I mean,
Yeah.
those are still open.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Takeaways is still
Yeah.
open, or people who may wonder what I understand what you mean, but there are people who will be like, yeah, drive-throughs or pick up delivery, all that other stuff like that.
sorry,
Yeah.
drive-through.
No, you're good. Listen, man. We just talked about Americans a little bit ago. I'll leave it upon that. Sometimes you got to translate for these people, and it sucks.
I forget about those things, eh? Well,
Yeah.
drive-throughs and so on. Well, we've got nothing here. Everything is closed. Liquor stores, the shops. We can go to the shops to get food, but even then, only one person
Oh.
in a car or two max. Sheesh, it's crazy here. But luckily, we don't have to go out too much.
You say that.
We don't. I say we. I'm talking about me and my family.
Oh.
I just sit here and go.
That's true. Like the world's just crumbling around. And like, well, what are you working on, Karl? Oh, I'm working on the end of the world. That person you asked just looks out the window. Huh. Oh, okay.
That's exactly it. Working on a story about the end of the world due to a virus.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, you know what though, Karl? I gotta be honest with you, man. Is you've done now? If I remember right here, and I'm drinking my cup of coffee at the moment too here, but as I usually do in these. But is you did issue 1 and 2 of Unkillables already, right?
yes.
Yeah, I gotta say, I wanted to make sure I didn't miss because I'm like, I want to make sure you did both of them because as soon as I saw your art on Killables, I'm like, oh my god, this is gorgeous, this is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, like I'm not even joshing you or pulling your leg or anything like that. I'm being completely honest. It was beautiful, and it's like with Tom's writing and everything. You guys are a team. I want to see on so many books.
Wow. Thanks, man. That's awesome, dear. That is awesome, dear.
Of course. I'm telling the damn truth, man. Like, there's some people I just look at their work and I give them a Google because sometimes I have had people on that I'm like, oh, I really like their work. And see if we can have a conversation, you know? And you bring them onto the show and I'm like, it's laid back. It's not Time Interview Magazine. It's not any of that shit. It's just laid back. And I bring them on and it turns out they're just a complete asshole. And I'm like, okay, I don't think Karl's an asshole. I've seen otherwise on the internet, so I'm really hoping.
Yeah. Well, I hope I'm not. I try
No.
not to be.
No, far from it, good man. Far from it. Far from it. And you know what though? You're definitely working through you're even under lockdown and shit. You're still working, which so many of us in the States, you know, as writers, as a writer for like 5 books, I've been working like crazy, and then for film, I've been doing a bunch of different stuff and whatnot. But you know, I'm looking up. There's people who with everything going on, they just can't do what they do. Like our artists, like they're having a tough time doing it. Writers are having a tough time doing it because it's really tough when you look around and you see everything going on. You're like, what's the point? You know, people get in this weird funk sort of thing, and it's a crazy time. Like even big time directors are coming out and saying like it's tough for us to write our new movies coming up here because we just look outside our window or we turn on a TV and you just get in this like slow, low, deep funk, and it's tough to break out of a little bit, I think.
Look, I'll be honest. It's hard to work under the circumstances, but the fact of the matter is that I just have to suck it up and walk it off, for lack of a better word, or for lack of a better stuff. It's got to be done. You've signed the contract. You need to do it.
That's also very true. You have a deadline and you have everything else too. You definitely.
Even though I'm missing a lot of deadlines, and I know a lot of people in the industry. I was actually chatting to Tom Taylor wherever I was chatting to him on, and he says he's also missing a couple of deadlines here and there, but it's all because of this, feeling of bleakness.
Yeah, it's it. Like it's the I rewatched the trailer the other day because every now you tend to watch. I've been watching stuff on YouTube and late at night, which is probably a really bad thing to do for sleep. But I've been watching stuff on like pandemics, like old like movies and video games. And I was watching Fear the Walking Dead Season 1 trailer where it's like the zombie virus is breaking out. And the kid in the trailer said, "When the world falls, it falls fast." I'm like, oh, cool, that worked 5 years ago. I'm going to tell you for a fact, no, it doesn't. Fuck you, kid.
Yeah.
It's very slow, and it's painful.
Yeah. It is slow.
It's like, oh my God.
Imagine the coronavirus turn people into zombies. This thing would spread fast, eh?
No, Karl. I want to make it right clear. If there's zombies, I'm dead. I can survive the giant monsters and the aliens and shit like that because I'm a huge fan of those. So I'll probably figure out something to do. But when it comes to zombies, I'm dead within a week. It's just there's no way.
Oh yeah.
I won't pretend. Yeah. I won't be one of those classic Americans like, I got my gun. It's like, I do. But the thing is, I'm still dead. I live in a city. I'm fucked. I live a block from a hospital. It ain't going to work for me, buddy.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
No, same here. We would be dead.
Oh, yeah.
I would be.
Oh.
I think I'm one of those red shirt guys from Star Trek. So
that's.
I'm
a nerd for a reason. Yeah, we're nerds for a reason. We work in the arts for a reason because, I used to play rugby, but Jesus, I would not do this. I can't survive the zombie apocalypse. No way.
Oh, you guys play rugby in the States?
I did, yeah, a few years ago. I did it when I was in middle school, which I think is prep school for you guys. I think. Yeah, and I got...
Middle school is, primary school.
Primary school. I learned a little bit. I played then, and I keep track.
I didn't know. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
Say again?
Oh, I was like, I don't get a chance to play every now and then, but I still keep track of it. I love Britain's team and all that. But you know what? New Zealand, I really am a big supporter of New Zealand. I really am. Man, they're threatening.
Well, All Blacks, of course. You have to kind of... They've been the top team for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
South Africa's too bad. I didn't know Americans watch rugby.
It's rare. I want to put it out there, Karl. It's very rare. But we even have some schools, depending where you're at. Like back in the East, Midwest region, it's more popular than the West Coast.
Yeah.
But that's why I did it back when I was in the middle of the United States in Illinois. And man, as soon as I left, though, it was just starting to pop up. And as soon as I left, I moved. More teams started popping up. High school had it. And, high school still had it. But then we had an all-female rugby team, which is not the woman you want to piss off in life. Just fair warning.
No.
Just fair warning. Yeah, you definitely don't want to piss them off. They were scary. Beautiful, but scary. Oh, so yeah, so it's starting to pop up every now and then. You see it in clusters a little bit because American football still kind of takes the lead, but rugby, man, that was a sport. I love hockey too, and people told me they're like, "Why do you like the sports that really beat the hell out of you?" I'm like, "It's fun."
Now, is that ice hockey or just normal hockey?
Well, ice hockey, but then depending where you're at, I'll go in the streets with a puck and some sticks, and we just go and just make a goal or something like that. And we used to do that. But growing up where the
Okay.
snow was like
Yeah.
3 feet tall, you could easily do ice hockey in the wintertime with friends.
Yeah. Aha. Okay.
Yeah.
I've always been one for ice hockey. Never played it. Doesn't snow here, so.
In South Africa, get out, Carl. I never knew. what I wouldn't think.
Well, I mean, it snows further on if you go a little bit north, maybe an hour from here.
Oh.
But yeah, we do get a little bit of snow in Africa. But I think it was ever since the Mighty Ducks. I've always been like, that's showing my age, eh?
No, that's so many people in that love ice hockey. I'm just saying, you can't see me because we're doing audio only to help with connection, but I'm grinning ear to ear because, man, that's a really good reason to get. If you're gonna get into hockey, that's a reason to get into hockey is the Mighty Ducks.
Okay, that's good. That's good. In good company then.
We were.
I
Well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, my mom took me to see Mighty Ducks when I was a kid, and I was like, "Whoa, this is awesome!
Yeah.
Definitely want to try this one day."
All right. And
obviously, never did.
No, you know what though? It threw me for a loop because we were playing the new NHL video game. Me and my buddies were online, of course, because part of them. Shout out to Nick and Chris and whatnot, but because they live in Illinois and different and under quarantine and all that jazz. So we're playing online, and we were trying to think of a team name because we could have teams in the game and such. And what happened was, we're like, "Oh my god, did we be the Mighty Ducks?" And we really thought about it. We were gonna try to be the Mighty Ducks. And we're like, no, everyone's going to do the Mighty Ducks. No one's done the Mighty Ducks in the whole game. We can't change it. We're like, oh, damn it. Damn it. We lost out. We're like B Team Social Club.
It might be. Sorry, say again?
Oh, no, we're the B Team Social Club is what we are. So we're just like, we're the B Team. We're like, oh, that'd be funny, right? Everyone's going to have the Mighty Ducks. And apparently you're right. That does show our age. And I'm only 20. I'm 23 in like 2 days as of this recording.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I know. It's the perfect time to have a birthday, Carl. This is the perfect time. Can't do shit.
Nice. Yeah. You can't do a damn thing.
Right.
Well, you have to have a little bit of a Skype party there by yourself.
That's the plan. We're going to toast drinks.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
no, well, happy birthday, if I don't get a chance to say happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
In advance.
Well, thank you, good man. Now, because people will probably like, this is a comic show, and I'm like, it is, but it's also laid back, and so go fuck yourself, fans. But, people that listen to the show, and the many people that do, they know. But I'm curious. So, how have you been handling? So, you say you're working like crazy. And so I like, how do you, but you've been also, like, with everything going on, it feels like you're working like crazy, but then you did say, you get in the funk too and whatnot, but, is it just been DC Unkillables you've been working on, or has it been, you've been going full into that? Yeah, if you can't say, don't say. I don't want to get you in trouble.
Well, no, I mean, I've said it on Twitter. I've finished the pencils on 3 already. That was actually supposed to due out tomorrow, and I don't think it's definitely not coming out tomorrow.
I was about to say, no, it's not. No.
Yeah, no, it was due out tomorrow. That ending is epic, and I really wanted people to see it, but okay. Well, I'm finished with that. So, and then I've also been doing the Man Who Effed Up Time. I don't know if you've from Aftershock Comics.
Yeah.
So
I heard about that.
I've been getting back into that, and it's tough going because I did the Man. Okay, How did I? Let me tell you what happened from last year, more or less June, July.
Mm-hmm.
So my editor, Ben from DC, he approached me. He wanted me to do something that he was coming up with. He basically said a Mad Max with Deathstroke as the main guy, and started thinking about concepts and came up with all these cool things that haven't even been used in the comic, and it's like, oh God, I just show people this cool concept and so on, and so he's come up with ideas like that, told me about it, and just after I started working on concepts for that, Aftershock approached me, or something happened there with Aftershock, and they wanted me to do a book with them, which was this time travel book, The Manifest of Time, and I started on that. And I think one issue into that, DC came back and the editor said, right, we are greenlit, let's go.
Wow.
And, yeah, so I was working on both books up until November last year, I think. And then I just said, look, I can't do this. And I asked Aftershock, because I was quite far into their books already, and it was only releasing in Feb. Asked them if we could just put it on the back burner, put it on hold for a little. And luckily they said yes, that's fine. And they are awesome. And I just finished off Deceased, and now I'm getting back into it. And the problem with that is just chopping and changing between all these different kinds of ideas, and the two different writers in the different worlds, and it's messed up. And that, on top of the coronavirus thing, is it's slowing me down considerably.
Oh, I bet. And you've also got family too, so you combine all of that together. That's a hell of a time.
I've got.
Huh?
Sorry, what did you say?
Oh, I said, and you got family too, so that's definitely, when you combine it all together, that's a hell of a plate, sir. That is a hell of a big plate of food. My God.
I mean, I think my wife is awesome at that. She's keeping the kids away from me.
Oh, God, I would hope, especially when you're working on Deceased, I would hope. I mean, because how old are the kids?
Yeah, no, the one is 5, the other one is 1.
Okay, yeah, I would keep them away from your artwork right now. Oh, Lord. I'm a guy who's like, censorship's bad, but that's just bad. You don't want to show them, like, here's a guy's head. It's like, what?
Yeah, no, they've got their own comic books that I'm saving for them when they turn 18. And they can read what Daddy actually does for a living.
There we go. That's a good way to do it. That's a better way than I would do it. I'll tell you that for free.
So my 5-year-old likes Harley Quinn, and she wanted the one with Harley Quinn on the cover.
Oh.
I think it's a second issue, and she's got blood and stuff coming out of her mouth.
Yeah, I remember that.
The one she wanted. So I was like, okay, cool.
You're like, okay, this is the beginning. Now I see the future of her and see what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
I'm interested, yet disturbed. I don't know whether to be happy or concerned.
No, she was scared of the Goonies monster. What's his name?
Oh, Sloth. Yeah, Sloth.
The other night, so I'm not too worried that she'll become too demented.
She almost sounds like me a little bit, because my dad was concerned, because my dad is a huge, and I don't know if you know this character or not. He's by an indie, I would say an indie publisher, Spawn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Spawn at the age of 7. 7 years old, and I knew what Spawn was. And I'm like, he's from hell. And my dad's like, don't say that. Don't say that in front of your mom. And I was like watching the movie and reading the comics. I should not have been But my dad was like concerned, like,
we had, like, I've got a story about that as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
But not non-comic book related. I was talking to my mother about it. She swears, she denies it totally. But I think when I was about 7 or 8, they showed me I don't know if you know the Jeff Goldblum movie, The Fly.
Yes.
Yeah, they rented this movie for myself and my cousin, who was, I think, 2 years younger than me, 3 years younger than me, and they just let us watch The Fly.
Between Spawn and watching giant monster movies and Jurassic Park and stuff like that, you know what? My family sowed their seeds, and it seems like so did yours. Sowed the seeds with The Fly. Mine was monsters eating people and hell and demons, and then yours was The Fly, so it just sowed our seeds.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's weird because I also showed my 5-year-old Jurassic Park, and she loved it. Yeah, I thought she would be scared, but she was so happy about it.
That's the beautiful part of that movie and that franchise. And I mean, I'm a huge fan, a huge nerd. I'm looking at like a dinosaur collection I have in my workshop right now, some fossils when I used to work in paleontology a little bit for a couple of years. And
I don't know.
Well, thank you. And, you know, I think it's something about that movie. Like, if you look on the outside as like a parent, I'm not a parent, as far as I know. Little joke, not gonna word. But I'm not a parent, so I don't have that vision yet. I kind of have an understanding of it, but I'm looking upon it like, you know, there's a little bit of there's eating, people being murdered, people being eaten, horror, gore, but then also happiness and joy. And you think about it, like, most movies, kids are not going to want to see that. They're going to be covering their eyes and shit like that. But a majority of kids, when it comes to Jurassic Park, somehow are just in love. They're like, yeah! And it's like, okay! And it's like, but then any other movie, its eyes are being covered with their hands and everything else. It's just some fascinating thing about that movie. And one of the many reasons why I love it is like, even as a child, they're like, this is amazing.
Something about Steven Daddock. Sorry.
No, you're good.
That guy, Steven Spielberg's movies. It's as far out there and as scary as they sound, they still have something about them that is fantastical and
exactly
wants, especially kids to watch that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then you watch E.T. and then you just cry.
Yeah. I was scared, and I think I probably still am, of that E.T. stuff. Yeah, that thing looks weird, man. E.T.'s a weird look thing.
I was scared in E.T. only in 2 moments. The one where Elliot is out there in I think in the bushes or something like that, and he shines the light, and E.T.'s like, and it's just like real loud, way louder than that. I'm just being kind to the audio listeners right now. It just like screams, and you see the light flash, like, oh! And I was like terrified as a kid. That was my little kid. It sounded like an opera scream, but it was my little kid apparently. And the moment where the guys show up in the hazmat suits, because I was like, oh, it got real. I was like, oh no, they're gonna kill him. Because whenever I see hazmat suits, I'm like, oh, these guys are gonna kill him. Like, oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, no, that's just the puppet itself. I was scared.
You may laugh at this. I'm actually looking at a mini E.T. figure where he's holding the severely outdated toy, and he's got like a little blanket around him. It's like an inch tall and it's painted. I'm looking at it's right on my workshop, right by my mic stand, actually. Yeah. I'll send it to you as a gift, Karl. I'll pay you the $200.
No, that's cool.
Oh, okay, damn it.
I don't think I want to watch those things anyways. E.T. Hey, a little bit of Trivial Pursuit there. Do you know what E.T.'s job was? What his occupation was?
Oh, shit. Oh, you hit me with a hard question. And my mom's a huge E.T. fan. She probably wouldn't even know. I think it was scouting and recon, if I remember right.
I suppose it's close enough. He was apparently, according to Trivial Pursuit, and I don't know how while they do their studies, he was a botanist, studying the plants and crap like that.
That makes so much sense. I'm just sitting here almost mouth agaped. That's why I wish sometimes I recorded the video and I could. And the internet wasn't like so shitty. Oh my god. That makes sense.
He was a botanist. Yeah, he was.
Oh.
Get plants and stuff.
Fucking.
So,
I was today years old when I learned that. Oh my god.
It's a weird. Something that'll stick with you, hopefully. The next time you play a game of Trivial Pursuit. I think that was the one thing I got right in that damn game.
I mean, I'm looking at a and I don't know if they had any in South Africa or not, but I actually got an early birthday present from one of my folks. Was a Blockbuster board game, so it's probably in that damn thing because it's a movie trivia game. So there's probably a card in there that probably says something like it.
Probably.
Yeah.
No, that was definitely in Trivial Pursuit. You guys have Trivial Pursuit there?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we do. Not as popular anymore though, but yeah.
No. It's not popular at all.
It's true.
It's too much thinking.
It's right. Well, it's like I said. You know what? Blockbuster came out with a game, and there's some people a little bit younger than me who reached out and were like, "What's Blockbuster?" And I'm like, "You're dead to me. You're dead." What? Oh, what's you ever heard of Hollywood Video? No. Oh, you're dead to me. Youngsters.
Well, I mean, it's the same with people. You talk about VHS or
Yeah.
You guys call it a cassette tape?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. It was sick there. Oh, what's the other laser disc? That was a thing for a while.
Oh yeah, we were never big into that. Yeah.
Oh.
Ours was VHS and straight to DVD.
You know what? That's the way. That's the way to do it. Now you went a really good route. Let me tell you, Karl. You had the zero bullshit in between. You got the first date, and then you knew what you were into.
Yeah.
And that's what you got. You didn't have all these side things. You know, you just went straight to the cake.
Yeah, we heard about it. There were murmurs in hushed tones of reverence, but South Africa never got into the whole laserdisc thing.
Fair enough.
It's just, I know about it because I'm a nerd, but a lot of people don't even. Yeah, I've never heard those words put together.
It's true. They're like, oh, a laser disc? What is that sort of thing? Like, well, it's a DVD, but it's really big. Really big. Like, bigger, like the size of a record. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, but you didn't have a record player. You just put it in a DVD player half the size of your TV at the time. So, it was a really good time.
Yeah.
I had one growing up. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how. Oh, sorry. Oh God.
Listen, I know. We're recording and everything. But is there any chance we can have a bathroom break?
Yeah. Fair enough.
I'll be 2 seconds.
Yeah, no problem. Good man. I can edit it out. You're good.
Is that fine? Okay, cool.
It's all good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry about that.
You know what? Being a human, it's good that you just needed to pee. It wasn't like you were coughing and having a fit and you were like, uh-oh. Like, oh no, Karl. Oh no, what happened to DC Unkillables? Turned out the artist was very killable. Oh, that's a dark joke that's going to send me to hell. Oh no. Woo!
At least it's done already, so
that's true.
They don't need me anymore.
Oh God, Karl. No. I just say your work is so good, and you're such a good guy. No, we ain't doing that game. You're like, what happened? The last thing he was on a podcast. I would feel so fucking guilty. So guilty. It would probably do really well on the ratings, but I would feel so bad.
Yeah. No, it's all good, man. All good.
So I have a it's a personal question here, Karl. And well, it's kind of personal, kind of like work related. Is how the hell how do you become like a comic artist in South Africa? Like we said in the beginning, it's like you just know not too many and such like that. Like, how do you do it? Like you know, it's just very like how do you become one? Like I'm gonna work for comics because I don't imagine the support there is really that helpful for it.
That is an awesome question, and I've got an awesome answer for you. I don't know.
God damn it.
Honestly. Hey, wow. I started studying graphic design, but I've always been a comic book fan.
Yeah.
Love my comic books. Fan since I was primary school,
Shit.
whatever. And what's yours? Middle school?
Elementary. I think 4th grade. Well, age 4. That would probably be elementary school in the States.
Oh, okay. Well, probably for 6th grade. And studying graphic design. Always got into trouble for drawing comic book characters and so on.
Oh.
Because it wasn't seen as high art here in South Africa. It wasn't seen as high art. Yeah. You hearing that right? High art.
Wow.
So they like their paintings and their bucks and their Monets and their Picassos and all that kind of pretentious stuff. Now look, I enjoy it here and there, but comic books are where it's at me. It's telling stories and so on. Anyways, I got into trouble for that. And once I had graduated from the graphic design course that I was doing, principal had remembered that I used to draw comic books because someone had come and asking them for someone who can draw comic books. And that company, I don't know if you have ever heard of Super Strikers.
No.
It's a soccer comic. Anyways, I got recruited by them, started drawing comics for them. I think they were one of 2 comic book companies in the entire country.
Oh, shit. Wow.
And it was, very corporate kind of stuff. So the corporations, the KFCs or the what do you call them, gas stations. So we've got one here called Caltex. They would tell us what to do. And it was nothing had to do with this. The writer basically just, I'm at a loss for words. The writer basically did what they told him to do. So it was nothing about continuation of story or story arcs or anything like that.
Oh.
It was just different.
Oh.
We got a skill there as a penciler, and then, working that kind of thing, hopped around a little bit between the 2 companies. And then all of a sudden, comic books started to grow a little bit more here. And I think by sheer stroke of luck, not that I believe in luck, but by sheer stroke of luck, for lack of a better word, somebody mentioned that the editor of DC, or not the editor, he was a talent scout from DC, was coming to the Joburg Comic Con, and I wasn't going to go there because I had family here and work here in Cape Town. So I decided to send my stuff up just to show him. And he got it, thankfully. And he sent his business card back, and I got in touch with him on email, and he became an editor for me. And he's the guy that actually edits the entire deceased line there at DC. Awesome guy. And that is how I got to be in comics.
That's a pretty good story, actually. That's like you grew up. I like how they kind of came to you a little bit. It wasn't like you went straight for them. You did go to them. But in a sense, it was a little bit of both. They kind of like they came to hear that they sent a talent scout to Joburg Comic Con. That's amazing, because I would have never thought they would have done that. I would have been thinking, no, they're not going to do that. They got everywhere else. But like we talked about, they're all over. We get so many artists from all over the world now. It makes sense.
Yeah, they're pretty much everywhere.
Wow. So you
watching.
Yeah, it's true. They always are. Thank God for Instagram and Twitter, because I bet there's so many people I know that got jobs from that. Yeah, that's wow. So you just kind of were like working in South Africa, doing comic stuff in there, and then eventually, when one of the big two came in, you sent your stuff up, and then they're like, "Hey, we want you," which proves my fact.
Yeah.
You have beautiful work, Karl. I told you have beautiful work. Told you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Uh,
I don't want to get too big ahead about that kind of stuff because I've still got lots. I think I've still got lots to learn.
well, yeah, that's
I mean, you always
yeah, 100%. Shit, I'll tell people it's like I write 5 books, right? I can't talk. I'll hit 3 are out. There's 2 I can't talk about. So I feel you when you're mentioning like you couldn't talk about DC Unkillables. There's one book right now that's been in the pipeline for about 4 months, and I can't talk about it, and there's been no hints about it, and it's really good. And the people who I have talked about it to off record, friends of mine in Marvel and DC, I've been like, hey, what do you think about this? And they're like, oh my God, that sounds brilliant. Like, fuck, I want it to come out. But I'm always learning. Like, I that's one thing to look upon it. And listeners, wherever you guys may be, that is definitely the way to look upon it. You can't be, oh, I'm 100% right because I do all this stuff. It's like, no. The story's always changing. Yeah. Like, if you look at my first script compared to, like, issue 15 that I've just turned in the other day, I think it was, you definitely see a difference. You see a difference in the writing. You see character development. You see a whole bunch of stuff like, shit, I bet you Tom, if he was on the show right now, he'd say the same thing. He's always learning. And he's one of, like, the gods at DC right now, apparently.
Sorry, say that again?
No, it's like I'd say Tom, and Tom is like one of the DC gods right now, apparently, too. I love his work and such, but people are like, he's the new Stan Lee at DC. And I'm like, okay. Then I'd love to have Tom on the show, though. I'm just saying, but still.
It's so weird that I mean, this was my first, well, it wasn't my first book for DC because I was in one of their, what is it called, an anthology?
Yeah.
Where they have 10 stories. Yeah. I was in one of those first, but then this one was the first one where I was the sole artist on it, which is, and it's to work with Tom Taylor. Like, oh, I'm flipping out. And I was actually talking to the editor about that in the beginning. I'm like, dude, are you seriously want me on this comic book? I don't know if my art is up to scratch here.
Yeah, because
he was like, no.
He's like, you're good. He's like, you got this, Karl. I believe in you.
That's pretty much what he said. Yeah, he said that. I believe in you, so do it.
That's it.
And yeah.
You know, I think there's a little bit of fear because there's some. What the hell is it? There's been a couple film sets I've worked on where you've been like there's whether it's acting because I build special effects stuff or I build sets and whatnot, but then also I do acting and sometimes camera work.
Okay.
But whenever I go on a like I do an acting thing and I'm on there and they're working with someone or a certain director or something like that, I'm kind of butchering this, but you have that fear when you're working with someone on set. Like I had that fear a couple different times. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm not gonna be up to snuff with this guy. Like, oh, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I have this and whatnot too. And I'm like, you're fine. Just play the news reporter, Dakota. They're like, trust us. We hired you on here for a reason. You can do this. Like, but I'm like, that guy worked in Star Wars. He's in Star. Like, what? No. I don't know if I can. They're like, no. You're here for a reason. I'm like, oh, that's a good way to look upon it. You know, they bring you in for that.
Exactly.
My name is Andrew, and I am the host of a show called Rage Hunter. And on Rage Hunter, we cover the latest news and what's trending in the gaming industry with just a hint of some sarcasm and rage. You probably have this hole, this void in your life that you don't know how to fill. Well, Rage Hunter is going to fill it. And the best part is we are everywhere. iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Store, Spotify, Podbean, Instagram, Twitter, so that way you can get as much rage in your life as possible. And some news while you're at it. So come check us out and be a part of the greatest gaming podcast in the universe. See you there.
Exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly it. And you get to work with these big names and so on. And I was like, I'm like a new guy here. What
Yes.
the flipping hell are you putting me with?
There was
Thankfully, yeah.
well, I was gonna say there was one I 100%. There was a different one. I was on a few month film set. Was working on it for such a long time, and there was this one actress on there. She was so, and I'm like, man, I've seen her from something. I know she's in something. She's so sweet. We're hitting off. She's an older lady. And one of my friends comes up and they're like, hey, you know where she's from, right? I'm like, no. Oh, she was one of the monsters in the first Percy Jackson movie. I'm like, are you shitting me? Like, oh, no, I can't. I can't be on this set. No, this is ridiculous. No, you're insane. And they're like, no, you're here for a reason, Dakota. It's fine.
You know, and I mean, it's as much as I say I don't necessarily, like, I'm a kind of person who doesn't sort of almost recognize celebrity, or I like to say that to myself. I don't like to, fawn over them. What is it? Fall over them? Fawn over them? Whatever.
Yeah, the fawn over. Yeah. That I'm with you on that one.
Like that, but the fact is that once they are either working or in my vicinity or something just happens. Something inside you just like clicks. Hey, you need to be prim and proper here.
Exactly. Oh my God, exactly. And you know, it's really weird. I'm glad someone else is like that. Like outside of stuff, it's fine. Like I've had celebrities that are friends of mine, and we talk and whatnot. We hang out. I've had like celebrities on the shows, on the film podcast, Film World, or this show, and we're friends afterwards, or whatever. But then as soon as it comes to we're working together, I'm like, no, I can't. I'm not up to the level here. It's not the fawn. It's people are like that's still fawning over. No, Karl and I don't fawn over people, folks at home. We just recognize that we feel like we are so underqualified. It's the problem.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh. In which case, so I would definitely, going against Tom Taylor, I definitely would be like, I'm a writer, but still I can't compete. Like you could, even just right now, I'll be honest. Like if he ever like comes on the show, if you put in good work, Karl, I love you. But if he ever comes on the show, I'll definitely be like, a writer's so much better than myself. And
Well, I mean, he's a nice guy. He does a lot of things that you wouldn't expect somebody of, you could say that caliber, that height of what is, but yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Cool dude. Very, very cool. I mean, I've never actually spoken to him like this, but I'm always emailing him or twittering him.
You know what though? People can really tell who they are in an email. You can you really can these days, because if you send a lot of them, you tend to be like, oh, I'm just gonna keep it businessy. Where I'm like, it's joking, have fun. So you tend to find out a little bit.
Yeah, it's. I mean, look, I just see all the stuff on Twitter as well. And,
yeah.
He follows. I follow him, and it's weird because you see all the different things that he does. So yeah, I reckon he's quite a cool dude.
Right enough. So I am curious though, because we're coming near the end of the show here, Karl. But I'm very curious about one thing before we get to the end here, because I don't want to take too much of your time, because it is kind of getting late there a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's about 6 o'clock.
Oh shit.
So yeah, but.
That's afternoon. It's still. I mean, it's right now. It's about 9 o'clock for me in the morning. So.
Yeah, it's not bad for us. Yeah.
No. You said you liked comics before, like you were a big fan of comics before. What were your characters that you really enjoyed? It's gonna be nothing nobody knows, right?
No, I was thinking about it the other day because I'm busy doing these 6-band challenge things. I don't know if you've seen them on
yes.
wherever.
Yeah.
And I was thinking there was a guy from DC called Blue Devil who I liked, but then there was a thing from Image. I think it's Image Comics. called the Max. Have you ever heard of the Max?
Yes. Oh my God, the Max is a whole. We could do a whole podcast on the Max.
Yeah,
Oh
I think
my
he was like
God.
a rabbit or something.
I think so. I
It was
think so.
purple and yellow rabbit, spirit animal, or some rubbish like that. I'm not too sure, but it was so cool. I don't know. I think it was just because of the way Sam Keith draws. That's another thing, is that I don't necessarily follow characters or writers for that matter. Maybe one or two writers, but I do follow a lot of artists, and Sam Keith is one of the artists that I do follow. This is a weird. It's a weird kind of style that he has. That's just different from other comic books.
It's very true.
And I like that kind of thing.
It's very people. Oh, what is it called? I personally like it. I really find the different styles and whatnot very I love when they do that. And Sam's definitely is out there. And somebody told me the other day was his artwork is like if you take LSD and you make a comic book.
Yeah, pretty much.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it really.
It's got a weird kind of. It's a kind of children's book art, but it's a gross children's book.
Yeah.
I mean, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool. But it's really cool. It's like you think it's nasty, but it's cool.
I love it.
I heard.
I love it.
Now, this may get you tingling a little bit here, Karl, is I did hear rumors. They're just rumors. I don't want this to be like Dakota from the Comic Chronicle podcast says new stuff's coming out. No, this is rumors. That you got to be really careful with the internet these days. The rumors are that there's new stuff for the Max being developed.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know what.
Ooh.
I know recently, I think
Is it by Sam Keith?
Huh?
Is it by Sam Keith?
It might be.
Okay.
It might be. But I know recently there was some new stuff that went under the radar of a lot of people. But if you're a Max fan, maybe you did catch it. I think Batman and the Max had a crossover.
Yeah, I think I saw that once before. Are you talking about the old stuff, or are they going to have a new thing?
It wasn't that old. I thought it was a little bit newer. Maybe.
I think there was a Batman Max, like Arkham Dreams or something.
Yes. Yeah, that's what that was. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it's along the line.
To be honest, I can't keep up with comics anymore.
Fair enough.
So busy.
Yeah.
Not even funny.